Oh, we're back on. Okay, we're starting at the bottom of 84 with Bill Gates right here. With Bill Gates, he also created the Giving Pledge, through which almost 70 other billionaires have promised to give at least half of their money to charity. Page 85. Let's say before that. Bill's friend Warren Buffett also urged him to 85, donate his fortune to good causes, but probably the biggest influence on Bill was his wife, Melinda. She was a down-to-earth woman who believed in helping others. Bill and Melinda talked about what to do with their large fortune. They decided to give 95% of it away. Bill said, "I believe with great wealth comes great responsibility, a responsibility to give back to society." Page 86, 87. In 2000, the couple created the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. A foundation is like a business that is set up to give away money. Bill and Melinda donated billions of dollars from their personal fortune to their foundation. Now they ask themselves this question: how can we do the most good for the greatest number with the resources we have? Bill had read a report that said millions of children in poor countries were dying from diseases and no longer existed in richer countries. They were diseases such as polio, malaria, and yellow fever. So many of these children could be saved by getting a vaccine that cost just a few cents. Bill showed the information to Melinda. "We were shocked," Bill told a TV interviewer. "If you believe that every life has equal value, it's revolting to learn that some lives are seen as worth saving and others are not. We said to ourselves, this can't be true. But if it is true, it deserves to be the priority of our giving." Bill stepped down as CEO of Microsoft in 2000. He handed over the job to his college friend Steve Ballmer, who had been with Microsoft since 1980. Then in 2006, he announced that he was getting ready to retire from Microsoft to work full-time with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Polio. Polio. In the first half of the 20th century, polio was one of the most dreaded diseases of childhood. Although some who came down with polio suffered no lasting effects, it often left children paralyzed or crippled. Adults could catch polio too. Perhaps the most famous victim of polio was U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt. After catching the disease as an adult, he was confined to a wheelchair and could only walk a few steps with the aid of heavy leg braces. 60 years ago, polio was at its peak, afflicting almost 60,000 people in the United States in the year 1952 alone. Then vaccines were discovered that prevented polio. Once someone caught the disease, there was no cure. One vaccine was called the Salk vaccine, after Doc Jonas Salk. It was injected into a patient with a needle. Another vaccine was the Sabin vaccine, named after Dr. Albert Sabin. It came in liquid form. Patients only had to drink a small amount. The vaccines were truly wonder drugs. Very quickly, they wiped out polio in the Western Hemisphere. However, it still rampaged in poor countries where people could not get or afford the vaccine. In 1988, more than 350,000 children worldwide suffered from the disease. That year, the global community took on the goal of ending polio altogether. Bill and Melinda Gates have poured funds into the cause. In his 2011 annual foundation letter, Bill Gates reported that the number of cases had gone down by 99%, but he added, "The last 1% remains a true danger. Cases could crop us and spread. Again, we are so close, but we have to finish the last leg of the journey." Bill urged, "We need to bring the cases down to zero." 1991. June 27, 2008 was Bill's last full-time day at Microsoft. He was 52 years old and headed his company for 33 years. In 1975, the staff of Microsoft had been just its two founders, Paul Allen and Bill Gates. Today, Microsoft employs around 90,000 people. Back then, a typewriter sat on every office desk. Today, in the United States, after the software revolution that Bill led, a computer sits atop almost every office desk and is in almost every home. The flying logo of Windows opens on more than 75 million of these computers around the world. 92-93. Chapter 11, Life Today. In March 2010, Bill was bumped down to the second richest man in the world, Bill said. "Obviously, I don't care. It had happened because he had given $28 billion to his foundation by then. Today, Bill throws himself into work, just as always. With his usual intensity, he works to lift people out of extreme poverty, cure diseases, and improve U.S. education, especially in inner cities. As before, Bill loves his job. The day-to-day part of it's fun, he said. He and Melinda traveled to faraway spots in the world to get a first-hand view of problems. One day recently, he found himself in a tent with a tribal leader in a remote village where no one had ever heard the name Bill Gates. Other days find Bill talking to scientists about their complex research. The work requires Bill to master all sorts of scientific knowledge in order to decide which ideas should get money. 94-95. Every day, Bill faces countless hard decisions. He needs to draw on the business skills he developed as the CEO of a large company. Sometimes the foundation takes risks that don't work out. Bill realizes that's part of the job. He and Melinda wrote guiding principles for their foundation. One was, we take risks, make big bets, and move with urgency. We are in it for the long haul. Bill also meets with government officials all around the world. In 2011, the global economy was sinking. Many countries were cutting back on their aid programs. Bill fought against these cutbacks. The world's poorest will not be visiting government leaders to make their case, he pointed out, so I want to help make their case. 96-97. Leaders tend to listen to Bill. Bill gives them sensible reasons for continuing aid programs, the kind of reasons he would have listened to earlier in his career. He said, I understand the need for belt tightening in downturns, but he pointed out that in many countries, aid is only about 1% of public spending. That amount of money isn't causing the world's fiscal problems, Bill said. He added that there was a huge paycheck for giving. It made countries more stable and less violent. Bill and Melinda have seen firsthand some of the terrible problems in the world. Yet Bill often says, Melinda and I are optimists. That means they have great hope for the future. Bill believes that new advances in the high-tech world can give us a chance we've never had before to end extreme poverty and end death from preventable disease. In his free time, Bill still enjoys reading. Recently, he read a 400-page book about vaccines and enjoyed it. A reporter asked him if that made him a geek. I plead guilty, said Bill with a smile. Gladly. Other pastimes Bill likes are playing tennis and the card game bridge, but as Bill once said in a newspaper interview, he's not a sit-on-the-beach type. To him, that's boring. Fun to Bill is being with Melinda and the kids. 98-99. No matter how busy he gets, Bill says that the kids are a big part of my schedule. And work itself is fun to Bill. That's one of the reasons he has been able to accomplish so much. It is easy to see why Time magazine named Bill one of the most influential people of the 20th century. And in 2007, he finally got a degree, an honorary one from Harvard. Bill spoke at the Harvard graduation. He joked to his father in the audience, I've been waiting more than 30 years to say this. Dad, I always told you I'd come back and get my degree. 101. How will history judge Bill Gates? Will he be remembered as much for his philanthropy as for his leading role in the computer age? Don't bother asking Bill. He's too busy working. All right, so on page 102 and 103, you see the timeline. So you see the timeline of the world, and then you see the timeline of Bill Gates' life. This is just showing you how events line up, just for you to check out and look at. Again, go ahead and listen to this, pause it, stop it, however you want to use it. I hope it helps.